Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the ValCast. I am your host, ValorX77, and today's live version of it, yes, I am actually linking this to my YouTube account for once. We will be discussing some questions that were given to me, explain a little bit about my most recent project I just got done in PvE, and try to create a mock draft out of it. And why not? Because today is the start of the new PvE season. And if you're listening to this and you're like, what the hell is the PvE? Let me explain. It's short for the Pro Baseball Experience. It's a league that runs on OTP 26, a baseball sim engine, where in this league you get to create your own player, do tasks to upgrade your player's stats and stuff. And it's an overall great community that I recommend you come join. So anyway, first things first, let me explain what I'm showing right here. This is my article about a week ago. I released an article based on investigating how certain minor league teams seem to have pipelines to other teams. I did it for very recent seasons to get a pretty recent sample size done. I said for S50, for recency, the compendium's not very accurate for this stuff, so that's why I have access to a bunch of old draft sheets, because if you don't know, I work with the draft graphics, so the player renders in their team colors and uniforms. I'm responsible for some of them. There's a big team that does that. So if a player's not drafted, it's on there. So basically, I just go in, I make a bunch of charts explaining if I feel the pipeline is strong or I think it's weak based on the recent draft data. For example, you see I got every single team. It's 9 teams. You would think that there was also there's a 10th team that I didn't write down, the Puerto Rico Ranas. The reason why I did not put them down was because during the sample size, they were a bot team for their entirety of their existence. So essentially, the Ranas are a bot team. So they don't have any players. It's just a bunch of AI players. So it's just random, and they're always going to be the worst team in the league. So that's that. So the next thing here is, I'm looking at the comments here about what I did. A lot of people, I received a lot of praise. Now, I could do a part 2 where I make a point system based on weight to see how I would rank them. Now, I feel like I should probably do this on the do this real quick. Now, I'm probably going to save this for a later podcast because that will be another media article for another time. You're here because I'm going to attempt to do a mock. But first, before we do that, I feel like we should jump in with some questions because I asked for more questions once again before I got going. And I'm going to share it here. I'm going to switch my screen. These were all the ones from the first one. And our first questions comes from Bazooka Joe here. First question he asks, surprised by the draft? Any shocking picks? So he's referring to the minor league draft that occurred. For those wondering, I was selected in the third round, 21st overall by Bruce City. So the minor league draft is a bit of a crapshoot because teams are trying to separate themselves between first-gen players and recreates. So let me explain to you, for the newer user, what they are. A first-gen user is referred to a person who has not made a player before, and this is their first ever player in the league. They're new. You get to do the rookie task, which gives you a bit more TPE and gives you a bit of an advantage over the recreates. And there are some organizations that prefer taking first gens over recreates. So you got a lot to prove, because if you prove enough, you're probably going first overall, as long as you don't burn any bridges. Recreate is referring to somebody who has retired a player at any point, and they're coming back with a player that's their second or a future generation player. These guys are the established veterans. So in the league, you got yourself with them. You have, oh God, I'm fumbling my words. Probably should not be doing this under heavy brain fog. So recreates are the established vets. They usually have stronger connections to majors teams. They usually can go back to that team pretty easily. That's something we call forcing, which isn't illegal, but it's not a very well-respected practice. I know this is a main problem in the American Football Sim League I'm in, the ISFL, where one team seemingly has an advantage over the others because everybody keeps forcing there. But you can't. The truth is, you can't force anywhere, because like another team could pick you intentionally to try to talk you out of forcing, or you don't do anything and you basically leave. The PBE does have a good defense system against this with comp picks. For example, you'll see an example of this later when I go into the mock draft that I'm going to attempt later. So, not very surprising picks. I want to see the first gens go ahead of recreates, in my opinion. So me falling a little bit is not surprising at all, and I'm pretty happy where I end up. His second question asked me is, how does it feel to be a Bear? If you don't know, this is my second time I've ended up on Bruce City. They recently just put me in the Cave of Honor, which is their Hall of Fame, because my previous player, Vidal Valor Jr., was on that team. We had a few decent runs in the playoffs, but my player didn't do very much. Pretty decent career, though. 30 WAR and legend in Nashville that I'm still allowed in their locker room. So, yeah, I do really like being in Bruce City. Next question comes from Benny the Jet. What the hell is this? He asked Meatloaf. I'm like, okay. Are you referring to the singer of the same name or the food dish? The singer itself is pretty good. If Jeremy Clarkson doesn't like it, what's wrong with Bat Out of Hell, man? I mean, it's a pretty good song, but underrated. The food itself, I do like it, but I do not like any food that's dry or pasta and noodles or anything that's fat. I'm just probably the most sensitive eater on the planet, for those who don't know. So, all right. Next up, thank you for that question. So we have a first gen coming here. Carol Neidfeld 2002. They've asked, what are the teams in the minors? So, good question. So let's go to my draft pipeline and I will explain them all. So let me actually go into the main thing and I'll show you what they are. These are the majors teams. So the East Division consists of the Chicago Kingpins, the Florida Flamingos, the Louisville Lemurs, the Puerto Rico Rhinos, who are a bot team, the State College Swift Steeds. The Western Division consists of the Amarillo Armadillos, the Anchorage Wheelers, the Bruce City Bears, the California Firehawks, and the Kansas City Hepcats. So I really hope that does answer your question. I explain all the teams, and on the website they have the list of the GMs too. So if you have a question or if you're concerned about your draft position, I'd always contact them and ask like what their needs are, etc., to help yourself out. I reached out to a few already, but I'm not going to say which ones. Some know that they were reached out by me. There's some I haven't reached out to them. Next question comes from KDR, who it says here they're a GM. Let me see what they are. Somewhere. According to the site, you are Nola's co. He's asking. They're asking about the GM openings. All right, so let's go to the league jobs page. Take a look. We have a couple of them. Amarillo just hired their new GM in McGritty. Crabs just opened up for a co. It's still open as of right now. It's been up for over a week. Seattle was looking for a GM. Let's see. And they made the pick. It's Star Nebula was the guy hired. Let me investigate this user. Let's see. He's been in the forum for a while. He doesn't post that much. Let's take a look at the spreads to see who his player is. This is Krish Cash. Somebody who, if I'm not mistaken, went in the first round according to my thing. So, yeah. All right. I'd say this is a pretty good hire. So, it's good to see a lot of it, but there's another spot open. Swifties are trying to hire a co. With KDR going up to New Orleans to manage there. Tim G's looking for somebody that can run a new co. So we'll see what happens. Back a few pages and switch back to this. Next question comes from Black Jesus, who is, it's not listed on here, but if I'm not mistaken, he is it's not listed on the forum. Yeah, he is the co-GM of the Outer Banks Aviators. So he asked me, what are the biggest changes going to be when we moved over to OOTP 26? What are your expectations for the upcoming season? And the real answer, and the honest answer I have is, I'm not sure. From what we see in the early testing for the regular season predictions, if, as you know, I am recording this a couple of minutes before the first sim gets aired on Twitch. So with this, I'd say it's a crapshoot. All the testing it's a volatile crapshoot. I've seen models where it shows Vancouver being the top team. I've seen some models saying Seattle, some models saying Buffalo. There are a few clear favorites, but you just don't know if the sim's going to help you or, bam, you get hit by a massive losing streak. And that the sim doesn't like a certain batter if it makes them cold, so they strike out every at-bat. So, yeah, it's just, you don't know what the sim has in store for you. You just can't control it. You can try to create your park factors and set up your team to do it. But we have limits of how many seasons until you can change them or certain builds. You can't do that. Next question comes from What a Frill. This is the last set of questions, by the way. They ask, Sexiest PBE user, right answers only. And I gotta. Oh, yeah. Sorry about that, y'all. That's my dog. He won't shut up. So I'm gonna have to take a break and shut him up for a second. Sorry about that. It was just a stupid Amazon truck pulling up. But sexiest PB user is the question here, and I've barely seen anybody's faces in the league. The only person's face that I've seen is Hummus. Do I really have to put freaking Bummus as the sexiest user? I guess I got no choice. I'm gonna have to say Hummus, which is weird because he's about to host the dang sim later in a couple of minutes. Also, yeah, dog's gonna keep barking because this is around the time the delivery trucks come for the neighborhood. I'm not saying where I'm at because that's doxing and I don't want to risk myself getting exposed. So, yeah, I'm going to say Hummus and I'm going to say thank you for the questions. All right, we're going to switch back over here and go back to the history tab. I'm going to just go back to my page. Yeah, I've been in the league for a while. So we're going to go to my threads. And we're going to go to my pipeline article. So anyway, I did this earlier about talking about which teams have the biggest pipelines. So what I decided to do, I have the article with this article up to help me out. I also have access to the PBE TPE tracker. TPE is the way you upgrade your player, and the more TP you have, in theory, the better your player is. And here is the main course. I have here a mock draft. This is for the first round, and I'll explain what we have here. It's normally 16 picks, and the reason why I have 17 is because Toronto has a compensation first. I do not know how they got the comp first. But let me read the rule book about how comp picks are given out. It's a good way to study your data here, and I'll just go quickly to the rule book. Real quick. Let's see if I can access here. The rule book. The official rule book. Entry draft. So I'll go for here. The draft order will basically go into so if the standings are tied, we'll go for the tie break. I'll explain. The earliest second round pick, declined picks, of course, no leaks. Code of conduct, debt. All right. Free agent compensation. So teams may be awarded a compensation when initial ends and they sign a contract with a different one. Players are eligible when they play their full length or opt out of their initial. If the player's cut, they're no longer eligible. Based and the first 3 rounds when they rank a TP among their regression class. So here's an example here. If you're in like the top 14% TP wise, and you leave your team, the team you leave will get a first round pick, usually 17th overall, as compensation. So it's usually you got to be below the top 49% and above will earn you a comp pick. So yeah, if you're wondering, this is how the rule states that how Toronto got pick 17 in this model. So the reason what oh yeah, I didn't show it. So here is the rule about free agent compensation. Pick determination in order. Basically, they own multiple. Based on that. Okay. We'll switch back over. Let's see how much time. Let's see. We're about 20 minutes in. So I feel like we're doing good. So what we have here is the little mock draft here. On my phone, I have the compendium here. So the reason why I set up this order is based on early sim test results. This is likely what the standings are going to look like. If you don't know, our draft does not count playoff results, but rather regular season standings. So, let's see what we got here. Boise had second overall last draft. They have first overall at this draft in our simulation. So let's go to here, load players. In the minors, in S58. So this is the order we have here for all of the top prospects. I do have to let you, so this is pretty good for tracking players. So who are the top earning guys in this draft as the PBE sim has gone live as I'm recording this at 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. There's a clear top class here with these guys, including a recruit. So, all right. These are all the players in the class. We have a total of 43 different players in this class. Yeah, 43 different players in this class, which could be enough for at least 3 full rounds. So, first, let's take a look at, we'll go all seasons, PBE. Let's go take a look at Boise real quick. They have first overall. As you can see, their starting pitching is in good shape. Their fielders are pretty young, but they're old. They're in. It takes 9 seasons to regress. So, starting pitcher hit regression. So basically, I could see them go. I think they'll go best player available. But let's go back to the pipeline again. And according to this, Boise usually takes likes the most. the light purple, they like taking from Florida the most. From what I see, Florida and State College. So for this to work, we're going to go all teams, minors, S58. And the top available options here would be, if I were to go by this model, then Turd Ferguson would go first overall. And this sim, we'll just mark him as first. So some people are going to ask, they should consider taking Tugboat, but here's the thing. TJ is the GM of Nashville. This is an illegal pick. If they try to do that, HO will walk in and say, please pick again, because this is not a legal pick. Another person in this draft, let me see if I can find him. I think it's Lumosity Fan, who's also in this class as well. I don't see him, but Lumo's in this class as well. It's not. Yeah, here he is, Luma. Yeah, these guys are both GMs and thus cannot be taken, because Lumo is the Vancouver GM. So for this model, we'll have Turd Ferguson going first overall in this model. Next up, Lunar Base. So Lunar Base has a lot of big pipelines. The biggest being Anchorage, Chicago, Louisville, and State College. So we're going to look specifically at these, but I think the biggest pipeline by far is the Chicago. So we're going to switch over. The highest TP Chicago player. I don't think they need a catcher, though. So they would go by best available need. I'll go with Dave Babbittson going here with the next pick. I know this is a bit of an unserious mock. I kind of like it being that way. Okay, next up is Providence. And we will now see what their big need is. So let's switch back to this. Providence is in light blue on this. And their big pipeline, Amarillo, Anchorage, Chicago. I would say they would like to go an Amarillo player here. And the highest available player I see on the board for Amarillo is Tommy Johns. I feel like he would be a pick at the first gen. So to keep this as accurate as possible, I'm going to put this guy, Tommy Johns, as pick number 3. Pick 4, Toronto. So Toronto, I mark is a dark blue in this one. So Anchorage is a big one. Anchorage, Louisville. Anchorage and Louisville are their biggest pipelines by far. The biggest one is Anchorage. So we go back here. And let's see what the highest available Anchorage player is. I feel like Mac and Cheese would be a good pick for them. If you don't know, this is the guy that went first overall in the minor league draft. I have him going number 4 to Toronto. First of 3 New Orleans picks in this draft. So Nola is in a rebuild, going to be coming out of it pretty soon. And let's see what Nola prefers to take. I mark the Roogs with a. They don't show up for a couple. They're a dark purple. 2, 1, 1, 1. Kansas City and Louisville are the big ones. So let's have them take a Hepcats player here. So let's see the best highest TP Hepcats player. You know what? Let's just do this. I'm going to have Jacob Carson, which is this player's name. Let's see how Nick Lavs Stavinskis. I apologize if I butchered your name. It's just I'm not good with Slavic pronunciations. So I have him going there at number 5. Next up will be Nashville. And I have him marked as a red color. Let's see. 2 from Amarillo, 1 from Anchorage, 2 from Bruce City, 3 from California, 1 there. Florida, that's a huge pipeline there. I'm going to have them take a Mingos player because that is a rather strong pipeline. So the highest available, they can't. So here's the catch. They can't take TJ until the second round. They do not have their own second, but they do own Outer Banks. If I'm not let's pull up the compendium on my phone real quick. They do own Outer Banks and Toronto's seconds. So they'll have to take TJ with one of those picks. So the next highest player would be Jimmy Lumber Ziegel. I do like this pick. Ziegel definitely is a great user. And I do think he would be a great fit for Nashville. The next one is Outer Banks. So the Aviators, they are a bit wild with their pipelines. So the first big thing is the huge pipelines to Anchorage, Bruce City, which is the biggest by far. Kingpins is also huge. I would say they take somebody from Bruce City. And from the conversation I've had with Bailey, their biggest need is pitching. So this would not surprise me at all if they go with it says his name is VRobX1, but this is Yeti Taz. So I expect Yeti to go here with the pick. They could flip him to be a starter if they need him to, so. Okay, Boise again. They went with Turd Ferguson, who was from State College. We review their pipeline again, and what's clear is they went from KC. So let's go for their second biggest pipeline, which is Florida. And what do we see here? They can't take TJ. So the next highest available player, they'd be reaching a bit. So let's go. Do they have another Kansas City player they could grab possibly? Jacob Carson's already gone. They'd be reaching again. I think they go best player available here. So I would say They just take Laser because he's the highest TP player. It's going to be weird to see him not in a Detroit uniform because that's what I always associate him with in the league. But yeah, we'll put him there at pick number 8. Remember, this is just a meme mock from there. It's not very accurate, but I'm going to analyze the things and rank points and rank their best pipelines. This is probably going to be the part 2 to my article, which I'll figure out what's going to happen. So Cancun up next. So what is, I label them in pink. 2, 2, 3, 5, 4, 4, 5, 4. Let's have the biggest pipeline by far is to California. So the highest available, that's Lumo. They can't take him. No Louisville players have gone yet. I'm going to have them take a Lemur. Let's take Griff Manzer. I think pitching is going to go high in this draft. A lot of teams I've spoken to have said that they prefer pitching. I'm also trying to put more first gens on here to make this as accurate as possible, because you don't know if somebody. Okay, San Antonio. The Sloths don't have very many picks, so let's pop this up. I marked them with a light brown. That's 1, 2, 2, 2, 3 from the Pens, 4 from Kansas City. So their biggest pipeline by far is them, but I have not had any Kingpins players taken yet. So I'll have them take a Pens player here. But I already had Babbittson and them go. So I lied there. So does that mean they just take JD Pants here? I feel like, you know what? Let's just go with high best player available for Chicago in Emilian Vega. They can make him switch. Next up is the Indianapolis Apex on here at pick 11. So let's see. They're marked in a gray. And almost immediately, I see a big pipeline to Amarillo. Their biggest pipeline by far is the Dillos. So let's go back here to the sheet. And let's see. The best available Amarillo player that is not Tommy Johns would be Bew Matthews. Okay. All right. So let's go with him at pick 11. I'm going by no logic, just what's best. Nola again. So let's see. Their biggest pipelines by far would be there. Anchorage, Bruce City, Florida. So we're still on this. So if we could sort by team, that'll help. I think they'll take, let's see, Walbert Bell, but no, I think they'll go best player available. If we go up there, Bruce City guys. This is where I'm probably going to slot myself in. Now, I haven't spoken to Nola yet, but the original Vidal Valor spent a lot of time there. So this would not surprise me at all. The Void Boys up next. The big Florida pipeline, big Kansas City pipeline. So Florida and Kansas City have, but also big Dillos pipeline. We go back over here. So based on here, I feel like the best thing they could do is go the best player. Do they go? You know what? What the heck? Shawnee's got to go in the first round. He's a pitcher. This would make a lot of sense. No way he does not go in the first round. The second of 3 Toronto picks. So what do we have here? I had him take mac and cheese earlier. I feel like they go, let's say they go pitching here. And reviewing Toronto's pipeline again. Dillos, they have a big one there. Let's see what their pipelines are again. They're actually no, that's the sea serpent's color. Anchorage, Bruce City, Chicago, Florida. The biggest, I think they'll go with a Lemurs player. Does Lemurs have any pitchers not taken yet? They do. In Brian Ash. Yeah, let's go with that as their pick. Nola, they'll go best player available. So we'll go back to here. And this is where I think dynamic PBE is going to go. Based on who's best available on this board. All right. Home stretch. Vancouver. So they're labeled in light green. 1, 1, 1. California is probably the biggest pipeline. Yeah. They would take a Firehawks player. But they don't. So I think the best player available. Mike, hold up. I have a need to check something. Is Yakko still Is Yakko still GMing New York? Let me see if he's still on the list. Yeah, he is. This is Enoch, so New York also has a GM in the draft, so they can't take him. So I think they go best player available here. And I think they go best available. Taking a look here. Let's say, Paz is in this draft as well. He's not GMing anywhere, right? Let's take a look. If I see Paz's name anywhere, he's not on the Apex. He's not GMing anywhere. I don't think. He's not GMing anywhere. So I'm gonna put Paz here at pick 16. And the final pick, Toronto go best available once again. And we're just gonna go by TPE. Did I not put Parquad on my mock? Screw it. He's going to go higher than I thought. But I feel so dumb for putting him this low. Anyway. So, here it is. This is my way too early mock prediction here. If you do not agree with your position, that's fine. It's a super early mock, so I'm doing this for fun, so it's fun to be inaccurate, but here's the catch is that I'm going to know what actually happens a week before everybody else does since I do the draft graphics. So anyway, I'd like to thank you all for listening in to today's podcast, and have a great rest of your day. Take care.